uh, the Josie Awards at the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville, Tennessee. We're proud to be here again, folks, here Monday through Friday, Ocean's Pit, the little show about big things. Check the website, TonyOceanMusic.com, and give us a call at 847-769-8609 to book a show, folks. Every show is dedicated to the first responders, and mostly it's dedicated to people like you who take the time to watch the show, whether you're watching it during the lunchtime hour or you're watching anytime during the day. You can watch us on 5 different social media outlets. We're coming out to you live all 5 times right here, folks. You see us on the Tony Ocean Show Facebook page. We're on the Mo Carraro Facebook page. We're on LinkedIn. We're on YouTube. We're on X, formerly Twitter, and we're on the Ocean's Pit Facebook page. So, hope you guys are enjoying it. It's a beautiful day. Today's Wednesday, the 20th of December. That means there's only 5 days left to Christmas, guys, and I hope you guys are going out. I know the hustle and bustle. We were talking about this a couple days ago. I miss when people go out to the shopping centers now. A lot of people just do stuff offline, and it looks like there's not really much. I don't know. It looks like there's not much into it by giving a gift anymore when they're buying everything online. A gift card, this gift more when you go out to the stores and you hunt for the gift, and you got to go through the people and the parking and all the Christmas lights and displays and the songs. I know it's a pain in the ass, parking and then trying to find your car at the end. Yeah, it seems like it's all coming back now. I'm hearing from people the malls have been pretty crowded. So pretty interesting stuff. But anyway, we got a great show lined up for you today, folks. Y'all love the Chicago White Sox. And remember the great Ozzie Guillen, of course. Who can't forget the great Ozzie, folks? Player, Rookie of the Year, Golden Glove with the Chicago White Sox from 1985 to 2000, of course. Manager to 2004 to 2011, of course. He won the World Series for the White Sox in 2005. But it's great. We have a son with us, folks, Ozzie Guillen Jr. And he has a lot of hats on his head for a lot of things that he does as well. So we'll talk about what he does. We'll talk about Ozzie. We'll talk about baseball. We'll talk about what's going on. He'll be coming on in a couple minutes. In the meantime, folks, finally, people, Christmas lights, we posted those yesterday, folks, and everybody's been asking where it was. If you go in Schaumburg, down Schaumburg Road, and you go on Boxwood, and that's where you find all those lights, man. It was crazy. There was a Santa guy out in front, and I guess, and you put on 88.9 or something, and it goes. The lights go with the music. So I mean, there was the cars of people. I know a lot of people go downtown or wherever they go, but it's kind of cool right there. Anyway, folks, let's go right to our sponsors, folks. Our good friends from Ace Hardware. Ace is the place. Buy a local, shop local. That's Norridge, Des Plaines, Evergreen Park, Warrenville, and the brand new Ace Hardware in Mesa, Arizona, folks. Now, all holiday season decor items and lights are 30% off through December 24th, and small engine repair, free pickup and delivery, $35 savings. Customers can bring in their snowblower into the stores, or they can call or schedule a pickup entire month of December. And Ace Dollar gift card. You get an Ace Dollar $10 bonus gift card when you purchase a $50 Ace gift card through December 24th. All Car Have clothes are 30% off through December 24th. That's our good friends from Ace Hardware. Buy local, shop local. Ace is the place, helping neighbors before they were neighborhoods. And let's get right down to public relations, folks. Now, we all love it, whether you have a business out there, whether you're an entertainer, whatever, you're trying to get out on the TV and press and any kind of media. Well, you know what? Bill Gates once said if he had to spend his last marketing dollar, it would be on public relations. It's very, very important. Bernie DeMaio and partners, folks, have been my publicist for years, and he's incredible. Works with the Chicago White Sox, works with the Chicago Bulls with Michael Jordan, Popeye's Chicken, Phil Stefani's restaurants, and many, many more. It's very, very important. Spend it on public relations. That's what Bill Gates said. And he's worth $1 billion, so that advice got to be good. So go to BernieDeMayo's.com or give him a call at 312-217-5658. That's Bernie DeMayo's Partners, 312-217-5658. And folks, let's now get for real estate agencies in the house. All people out there buying or selling your home. It's only one lady you go to, my good friend Mary Grievous, folks. That's right. Buying or selling in the Chicagoland area, Mary Grievous. Perfect real estate professional, whether you're putting your phone up on the market or looking for your dream home, give her a call today. That's our good friend Mary Grievous, folks. And you can get her at mgrievous at starkre.com or give Mary a call at 630-688-1725. I'm telling you, let's turn your real estate dreams into reality. But whether you're available assisting buyers, sellers, for sale for owners, or expired listings, they can take care of it all. That's my good friend Mary from Berkshire Stark Real Estate. Give Mary a call. Tell her Tony Ocean sent you, folks. And last but not least, let's not forget our good friends from Sunny Acres. Now, we know it's the holidays, folks, and a lot of people can go downtown. People can go shopping, whatever they're doing for some great lights. How about going to Sunny Acres, 29 West 310 North Avenue, West Chicago, 630-231-3859. Come celebrate the holidays at the big, bright trail of lights at Sunny Acres Farm, where there'll be billions of dazzling lights, sparkling fun stops along the way while featuring larger-than-life holiday displays set in to turn your favorite holiday tunes. Be sure to come on the weekend and see Santa, folks. Check out the website, reserve your tickets and time slots at sunnyacres.com. That's Sunny with an O. That's right. Tell them Tony O sent you. 630-231-3859. Sunny Acres. You might as well get into the mood of the holidays, because I know I am, and I hope you guys are too. Busy week coming up. A lot of stuff happening. And, of course, tonight we'll be at Antonio's in Itasca, formerly Sergio's. That is a 6:30 hit, not 7. Tomorrow we'll be in Oak Brook with Positano's in Oak Brook with my good buddy Jerry Jams and Lisa P. That's a 7 o'clock tomorrow. Friday, Chicago Prime Steakhouse in Schaumburg with Double T, Tony Toto. That's an 8 o'clock hit. And Saturday will be at Taverna on Division in Melrose Park with Double T, Tony Toto. That is an 8 o'clock hit. So I'm excited about that stuff, folks. A lot of stuff happening, and I know you guys are just going crazy. We know less than 18 days away is the Chicago Music Cruise 2024. And we're proud to be part of it, folks. January 7th through January 14th, 2024, 7-night Eastern Caribbean cruise, Royal Caribbean's Wonders of the Sea. Orlando, Florida, Coco Key, Bahamas, Puerto Rico, and St. Martin. It's going to be Tony Ocean in the main event band. It's going to be my other band, Mojo's Jukebox, and the one and only Seventh Heaven. It's going to be fantastic, all on a cruise ship, folks. Now, they were sold out, and in the last week, Richie was kind enough to talk to Royal Caribbean and get a couple extra rooms just to be thrown out there, just in case you try to decide to do something, maybe a good Christmas gift for your family, wife, husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, whatever you got. Go to Mary at ntdvacations.com. That's Mary at N as in Nancy, T as in Tony, D as in David, vacations.com, and book your minute. Drink packages went down. It's going to be great, folks, on that cruise, and I'm excited about it because we get to perform on the cruise, but we also get to mingle with some of our friends and hang with everybody. This ship holds 5,000 people. It is the biggest ship on the water right now. It holds four football fields long. The place is huge. So we're excited. Before we bring up our guest, Ozzie Guillen Jr., Peter Prado is in the house. Stella, how you doing? Double T, what do you think of doing American and Italian Tony Ocean show with Diamante? I think that's going to be an incredible show to do with Pat. From I did his talk show last Sunday, Domenica Insieme, which means together Sunday, on Sundays. So, Toto, let's work with that with Pat when we get back from the cruise. There you go. Joey Spins is in the house. How you doing, buddy? Joey, thank you for setting this up and getting Ozzie on the show. I appreciate it very much. Good morning, Jerry Jams, Ryan Lewis. Hey, guys. Okay, we got Santa Barbara, California. We got Ohio in the house. Kenny, how you doing? Stella, Patrice, former Chicago Bear, Honey Bear. Lillian, how you doing? Oklahoma, Daryl Armenstad. It's great to see you guys. Ron Albert from the Ron Onesti organization. Danny Mazzi. All right, guys. A couple minutes before we bring up Ozzie, folks. Danny Mazzi, Robin, Armando Supermarkets. 925 Liberty Street in Elgin. Buy local, shop local. Another sponsor. And Crash Champions Collision Auto Repair. For all your collision and auto repair needs, go to crashchampions.com. My good friend Mikey and Gigi. I want to get the commercials out of the way so I don't have to interrupt when we talk to Ozzie Guillen Jr. Ladies and gentlemen, let's bring him on, Mr. Ozzie Guillen Jr. Ozzie, how you doing, sir?
How's it going? How you guys doing? Good afternoon.
Good, buddy. Thanks for being on the show. I know you're a busy man, but I met you a couple of times through Joey, and I've always been an admirer of your father, and because I always liked guys that spoke their mind, and Ozzie was great in doing that. And I think that everybody got around him, and that's why I think the Chicago White Sox won that World Series in 2005 because Ozzie strived behind. But of course, you have to have the talent. But the people want to work for your manager. They want to work for him, and people want to look like they wanted to work for Ozzie. So Ozzie, let's talk about you. Where were you born, sir?
I was born randomly in Las Vegas, Nevada. Ozzie was in AAA. That's where he played for the San Diego Padres. So I was randomly born in actually one of my favorite cities in the United States, in Las Vegas, Nevada.
You like Las Vegas? What's the difference between Las Vegas and here in Chicago, in your opinion?
Besides the weather. By the way, you can get sleep in Chicago. And a couple of years ago, you couldn't place a bet here unless you went to one of the boats. Las Vegas is a special place. I think that in Chicago, I think it's my favorite getaway. It's not that far. Obviously, everybody knows the connection between Chicago and Las Vegas for ages, but it's my favorite city in the United States when it comes to forms of entertainment.
Sure.
But again, I think now it's a place that's frequent by family members. Everyone. Before was a time that where you turn 18, that's a place you wanted to be just from an entertainment standpoint.
Yeah, you know what? A lot of people used to go, and then they complained a little bit when it turned family oriented, when people were bringing their kids there, and it seemed like looks like they're changing that around again. Las Vegas, I was there at the Riviera for 8 years at the Riviera playing there in 2000, so it was great. But the shows are good, a lot of fun out there. Ozzie, you have a big family?
I will. My family's humongous. Latinos like to have second cousin, third cousins, fourth cousins be a part of it. So my family is very big, and I always include my friends in that when I talk about that. But I have 2 kids that I'm directly responsible for, married. So yeah, my family is small for Latino purposes. But yes, I got 2 kids and a couple of nephews.
That's fantastic. Now, did you ever play sports yourself?
I always played sports. I grew up playing as many sports as possible. I think never at a professional level. I stopped playing before then, but I played college baseball for a bit. Probably could have played college football at Division II for sure. Probably a walk-on in Division I. Was a big football guy in high school. Went to high school in Florida, Boca Raton, Florida, St. Andrews boarding school. But yeah, I played sports my whole life. And once I got to college, I played for a couple years. And then I actually transitioned out because I've always been in love with sports, not just playing them. But yeah, I played. I'm the only one in my family though, that didn't turn pro.
Okay, well, that's very, very cool. Now, what was it like growing up with Ozzie as a kid? What's a regular day?
You know what? 2 different worlds. When I grew up here in Chicago, very normal. We lived downtown for a little bit, then obviously lived in Berwyn, right by Cicero, and then Burr Ridge. For the end of it, but in the United States, it was very normal. The neighborhoods that we lived in, people just kind of let us be ourselves, and no one made a big deal about it. Very different from back home in Venezuela, where we had a lot of attention.
Sure,
things were not the same. Obviously, everyone sets expectations very high, but my parents try to make it as normal as possible in the sense of our day-to-day activities of having breakfast as a family when available, or lunch as a family, dinners for sure. During the off season, we always had to eat growing up with my dad. But I think that the biggest difference was, and I didn't know until later, that it wasn't normal for my father to not be around in the summers.
Okay.
It was very normal for me for, a family member or a friend to take us to the Little League or kind of just watch our games in the summer and be around with us in the summer, because Ozzie obviously was traveling a lot. So
Sure.
We knew that our activities with Ozzie were more in Venezuela, because when he was in season, that's what life was. And in season, we'd go to games. My mom was very different than other mothers in that. We went to 95% of every White Sox game that we can. So we grew up going to the stadium, Old Comiskey Park. And then obviously when the new stadium was built, our seats were right behind the scout seats, because my dad, we didn't use the regular family season tickets. We bought our own. So we grew up watching a lot of baseball, and that was something that's a little odd compared to other baseball families.
Yeah, that's very cool. Did you ever get to travel? I know. Did you get to travel ever with him?
We did. So we'd have a trip where we go by ourselves. Each one of us got to travel by themselves, and then any family friendly trip was a lot of Texas Rangers, Milwaukee, which was close, a lot of Cleveland, a lot of the closer cities, Anaheim, obviously, because they had the theme parks. So yeah, we travel a couple of times throughout the year. But then when we started getting older, towards Ozzy's end of his career, then we would go everywhere, especially in the summer, when he was going, and then transitioning into young adulthood. When he transitioned into managing, which was a perfect timing, we were old enough that we all worked for the team, so in some sort of capacity. So we were traveling, early in that run, 24/7. And then for me, his final 4 seasons as a coach before being the manager, I worked in the clubhouse, so I was traveling with the team pretty much all summer, 4 years prior to him getting to the White Sox.
That's very cool. He played with the White. Ozzy played with the White Sox, 1985 to 2000. Obviously, he loved baseball. Ozzy, didn't he? Didn't your dad just love baseball?
I think that he loved playing baseball. I think he enjoyed every second of it. I don't think Ozzy loves baseball like I love baseball. I think that he's just it's worked for him. I think that he loves the competition, but I don't think Ozzy's like a huge diehard baseball.
And he probably didn't like the politics, right? That
I
goes
think
into baseball.
I don't think he became aware of the politics till like later on, and so did we. But like, I'll give you an example. Like Ozzy right now watches baseball because he covers it,
Okay, right.
but he's not like not living it day to day. We've been out of baseball now for 12 years, and I consume baseball like on a daily. Like my day starts off by me reading what's going on in the world of baseball, and I'm consumed by it, and a lot of other sports as well. Ozzy's very intrigued by other things that he finds very interesting and kind of like does his hobby things. But for him, baseball is it was a job. So I think the game itself, he's not a huge fan. I think he likes managing, and he likes like now managing when the game starts and it ends. And I think he likes
Sure.
being the player and being the camaraderie. I think he likes that part of the game. But I think everything else around it, like the game in itself, like he won't sit down and watch a game 9 innings and see two random teams play. That's not his thing.
I got it. And then, of course, being a player, was it hard for him to transition into a manager?
You know what? I think that Ozzy had the audacity always, as a very young man, that he knew what he always wanted to do, which I think that's why it's made him very successful. It's funny because when he got done playing, and Ozzy got done playing at a very young age, 36 years old. I'm currently now 39, so or over the age that my dad played.
Sure.
Where when he was looking for a job, including the Chicago White Sox, they all were offering him jobs in like single A and rookie ball. And Ozzy was like, I am not coaching in the minor leagues. I don't have to coach in the minor leagues. And he didn't take any of those jobs until his former manager, Jeff Torborg, said, "Are you ready to be my bench coach, third base coach with the Montreal Expos?" And then he took it and he said, if I'm not a big league manager in the next 5 years, like this was like his college. He's like, I'm done. I'm done with baseball. I'm not going to be here. So he was very focused on what he wanted to do. So even after the Chicago White Sox, which I think was a great thing for him, once he got to the Braves and he was around Bobby Cox, I think that's when he said, I know what I want to do
Right.
with my career. And he made the transition very well. And he did it. Most people don't realize like the entertainment side of Ozzy, that started while he was managing a couple World Series that Ozzy wasn't a part of, and his name was obviously very popular. He had an opportunity to start doing like Fox playoffs and World Series, and he was all about it. And he used his connections there, and he made sure that he prepared himself, because he's like, the day that I get fired from baseball, I want to do TV. I want to be able to do that. So he's always been very forward thinking. But yeah, with coaching for him, I always tell him he was very lucky. Most people, it doesn't work that way. You got to start in the minor leagues. You got to be given a shot.
Yeah.
But Ozzy was just very forward thinking. And it's funny now because it came full circle. Teams that offered him a job to coach single A, they had to hire him at the highest level. So I think Ozzy always had a chip on his shoulder when it came to that. But yeah, I think that he transitioned very easily. I think that the hardest part, Ozzy never had an issue managing and coaching because it came for him so natural. I think that he grew on the job because he was such a young coach. But I think that it helped him out connect to players. He has a very unique talent for connecting to teammates players, individuals, people. Ozzy's a very unique person, not your typical person on his day to day, but he connects to individuals, and I think that's what's helped him, become who he has become in his career at baseball.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, like I said, the players like to play with him. I think it makes a big difference. Ladies and gentlemen, we got Ozzie Jr. With us here at Oceans Pit. Let's not forget Deutsch Power Center, servicing the construction and diesel industry in Chicago for the last 100 years. That's Deutsch Power Center. And Don Esteban Cigars out of Tarpon Springs, Florida. Call them and get your special Tony Ocean cigars. We got Ozzie Guillen Jr. Here on Oceans Pit. Now, you're made the playoffs. Now here you are, World Series. Ozzie, what was that like as a kid? And what was it like for Ozzie? I mean, I'm in the playoffs in Chicago. I'm in the World Series, which the Cubs never got to.
You know what's funny? I never realized how big of a deal it was till you started seeing fans around and like everyone talked about the 88 years. And again, marketing and media wasn't so on it on the White Sox, the fact that they hadn't won in so long. Like they were in Wrigley. For me personally, this is going to sound very cocky. That was an expectation to eventually get to the playoffs as quickly as possible. I had just worked for, we had been in Atlanta. They went to the playoffs every year, went to a World Series there. And then Ozzie had come from the Marlins where I was a bat boy and I worked for the team. So I had just been in the World Series in 2003, probably one of the most magical teams ever. So like this was in my head, I was like this happens every year if you prepare yourself to do this. So when the team got in the playoffs, it was really cool because it was like, wow, the White Sox are going to a World Series. It became a thing. And then you have to, once you're so close, I think that you just figure it out. But I think that team and the players and even us, we were so naive of like living in the moment of like, this is something that needs to be accomplished. Even Ozzie, that looking back at it, it was never even, I don't think we even celebrated it as much as we should have. Of the accomplishment that it was. Even
sure.
We didn't even realize that Ozzie was the first Latino manager to ever have the chance to win it when he was 3 games in. We knew that Moises had Felipe Alou had gone, but we didn't think it was a big deal until after he won it. We're like, whoa, okay, this is a big deal. I remember when White Sox fans and White Sox front office personnel used to come to us and tell Ozzie, just get us in the playoffs. All we want to do is be in the playoffs. Once you win, obviously that mindset changed everything. But it was a big deal. I grew up a White Sox fan. I was a White Sox fan till 1998, a diehard White Sox fan. So I remember very clearly going to the playoffs in 93, which was the first time they had in a long time. Probably one of my greatest baseball memories. So I knew that for the organization, it was a big deal at the time. And then after that, I was like, we're going to be in this, every single year afterwards. But I wish that I would have taken more pictures. We would have enjoyed it, but it was just great just to see. I think it didn't really hit Ozzie and us until the parade. And I still think to this moment now, I think we appreciate it more now when people come up and say, hey, my grandfather passed away a couple years ago. We got to share the World Series. It was the happiest moment in his life. And you're like, some guy's 95. You can tell he's got a great family. And here's his son saying the White Sox winning the World Series is the greatest moment of his life. That's a big deal. So
that's a huge deal.
It is a huge deal. And Ozzie appreciates that because, again, you realize that what you did, it was bigger than the game itself to some fans and to some people. And that's why I don't consider myself a White Sox fan, like real White Sox fans that have, they endured all the good years and bad years from there. But yeah, it was a big thing. And then obviously when we went to Venezuela, he's still the only one, might be the only one for a while. And it was awesome. It was a really cool experience to it's funny. Now I think about it, I'm 39. I had the World Series trophy sitting in my house for 2.5 weeks, just sitting there, next to my bedstand because I was made the responsible one to take it to South America. And now I think about it and I'm like, either I was naive or innocent or really didn't care, but
right.
That's a big deal. That's a big deal now that I'm looking back at it. I'm like, wow, what a really cool experience.
Well, you know what? You got some people asking some good questions here. Richard Hamlin, our good friend Richard, it happened so fast, only one loss throughout the playoffs. The most dominated starting pitching rotation in Major League history with 4 complete games. Very, very cool. And my buddy Jerry Jams, what does your dad, Ozzie, think of Pedro, the new manager for the Chicago White Sox?
We'll answer the first one. And then the next one's going to be a little bit complex because Ozzie's in a weird situation.
Yeah.
hence the fact that he's the position that he's in. But the first one, most people don't remember this, all the booze and all the craziness. So September was not a good month for the team. Okay, and the Chicago White Sox have been known for choking in pennant races historically, and we were all like, "Wow, is this going to be it?" And Ozzie was so unhappy, and he got on the players so much. I remember Mark Burley saying, "Once we get in the playoffs, we're never going to lose. We're just not going to let you get on us anymore." And that team basically did that. I remember the only game that they lost, Anaheim had just played that night and flew in the middle of the night, and the White Sox had like a 1 week off. And they came in and they surprised them. And Ozzie came in and said, "This is why you don't take stuff for granted." Again, connecting to the players. And then it was it. Then, they didn't take their foot off the pedal. And then Ozzie, up 3 games, he was so adamant about sweeping because he was like, we're not going to let them get in this race. And the players were like, in September, they kept joking around of, we're not going to let the fans see us clinch at home. We're going to win every game on the road. And that's what they did. And it was something that drove them, again, kind of like the players. And then for the 4 complete games, Freddie Garcia's one of my best friends. I'm godfather to his kids. So being able to share that with him, he's married to my cousin, was huge for him to be a part of that. But Freddie was the last game. And remember, we knew that the complete game situation was happening. And Ozzie goes out to the mound. I believe it was like in the 8th inning. And his intentions were to take him out. And he's going out to the mound, and we're like, Freddie's not going to be happy. And Freddie convinces Ozzie to stay in the game. But that complete game, we were very aware of it. Ozzie wasn't. Ozzie was just trying to win the game. So that was really cool. And again, I don't think it's going to be very hard to see that type of record being broken. So that was a fun time to be able to share that with them in a moment. Does Ozzie like Pedro? I don't think Ozzie has any personal issues with Pedro, meaning people don't realize this, that when we critique, and I say we because we have a channel on YouTube, the Guillen Grid, where we have multiple shows on there. We're not talking about the person personally. Okay.
Correct.
Pedro Grifol has a beautiful family.
Sure.
Beautiful daughters, grandfather. There's nothing negative I think anybody would
as
say
a manager, as a person.
Okay.
Yeah.
As a manager, I think that you judge him now in his first year. I think that's what Ozzie is doing. I think that's why Ozzie was voiceful in the sense of when he does the post-game shows of things that he sees right and wrong and things that he doesn't understand at times. Because, again, he is one of the only few people in Chicago, actually the only one right now for the White Sox that covers a team that's actually sat in that chair. And Ozzie, like to any other manager, made himself available if Pedro had any questions, and he didn't. And, again, you don't know the mindset that he's in, and I don't think Ozzie holds any ill will about it because, again, everybody is in their own game. I think looking back, Ozzie, myself, we all share this where, when Ozzie got the call, okay, from Rick Hahn to tell him that he wasn't going to be the manager, which we still don't understand why they interviewed him, just because of his popularity and it wasn't going to look good with the fans.
Sure.
What they shared on that call, meaning what I was listening to, I turned to Ozzie and I said, this is either going to be the greatest signing of all times and they're going to win a World Series and they're going to be 100% right, or everyone just got themselves fired because of the way that we're setting him up. Meaning, I think a first-year manager, whoever it is very hard to go in and win. And those were the expectations. The press conference was very aggressive, not only from him, but from the way the team was pushing it. So there was a lot of things that were looking at it from like even Ozzie's standpoint of the pressure that you're going in. Ozzie had lived it. When Ozzie went from the White Sox to the Marlins, that he got there. It was like win from day one. If not, you didn't do your job. That wasn't the case when he came over in 2004 to the White Sox, where he didn't have any expectations. It was a lot easier for him to do it. So I think that that Ozzie's probably waiting for more development from Pedro because, again, he is still a first-year manager. He's his first year on the job. So we'll see, and Ozzie will see how he is developing. And when you judge a manager, Ozzie's judging his press conferences, management of the clubhouse and how he deals with the clubhouse, how he talks to the media, X's and O's and movements. Baseball and any sport is a game that you always second guess what a manager does in that point. But I think that Ozzie's just, going to talk his mind like he would with any other manager. But I think, In hindsight, I think that he'll probably tell you there was more deeper problems in the manager, but I think that's his opinion. I think anytime he covers the baseball team or anything baseball, it's always about the game, not anything personal. He just does what's there to be critiqued.
And that's very important. Ozzie wanted to get back as manager. Would he have done that?
He would have done it in 2 seconds. Ozzie has a weird thing where he says he doesn't want to be manager. Yes. Because obviously the situation that he's in. But I think he thinks about anything pregame and anything postgame. But I think if Ozzie could have a perfect life, he would manage the game from the first inning to the 9th inning or when the game ended, and then he would go and do the White Sox postgame show. That would be like his perfect world. He wouldn't want to deal with the team pre or post game.
Oh yeah, right. Okay.
Because it's very hard. It's very hard because when you're a manager, you go to bed every night pissed pretty much because you won, lost, someone's struggling. It takes a lot out of you. But I think he would love managing. I think that he would love managing, and he would tell you he doesn't. I think that he would love managing the White Sox, because it's Chicago. He lives here, and it's the White Sox. He has a weird relationship. Meaning he's always going to love them more than any other team.
Sure.
But I think he'd be open. I think that he wants to get another shot at it, trying to win, and just decide on his own terms. I would like to walk away. And Ozzie's very good in the X's and O's. He's back in Venezuela managing currently right now, managing the MVP, Ronald Acuna. And Ozzie, in that standpoint of the in-game of the game, even with analytics and all that, Ozzie's very good at what he does in that sense. But I think he would. I think that under the right circumstances, he totally would. Again,
and Chicago would need him. We got a couple more questions. Jerry said, Dylan Cease, was it a good move or bad move, in your opinion?
What move? When they brought him over from the Cubs, it was a great move. It's great move. I think if they move him, it's a money situation. If they want to sign him to a long-term deal and get married to him. But it was a great move. It was an amazing move. I loved it because I knew that the Sox hadn't scouted him at the time. And it was a good move for both teams. I think the Cubs needed to make that move in order for them to be impactful in that given moment. And that was the first rebuild that no one told the Sox fans about. So the Cubs needed to make that move. And the White Sox got themselves a guy that has been really good in the major league level. So I think it was a good move for both ends.
It's a good move on that end. Richard Hamlin got one more question. Do you think the entire world owes Tony La Russa an apology because the team stinks and it wasn't his fault?
I don't know about the entire world. I think everybody that talked bad about Tony. I don't think, I've been very vocal on Twitter where people said I took a very hard stance on Tony.
Sure.
I don't think Tony was ever given a fair shot, to be honest. I
agree with you 100%.
In his managing tenure with the Chicago White Sox, there was a lot of things said about Tony that were false. And Tony won 90-plus games, got into the playoffs. He did his job then, and he managed to an 81-81 team. Basically, health was a situation, but I think he did a lot with the team that he was given. So no, I think there's people out there still that blame the players not performing in the rebuild on Tony, and that wasn't the case. That was not the case. If anything, he helped them produce and get them where they were at. So I think that in reality, I think that he wasn't given a fair shake, and that's the case. Had Tony won, they would have been, wow, what a great old guy. That's so awesome. And if it doesn't work, they would have said, hey, this old bastard didn't work. Same thing with Ozzie. Ozzie came back and won. Wow, it was amazing. If he lost, he's old, he's outdated. But I don't give Tony the blame. And Tony was very nice. I think that I would have been very vocal, meaning if I was in Tony's.
Yeah, he was pretty quiet about that.
Very quiet. Right. Kind of just went about it. But no, I do think that they own him. A lot of the media does. A lot of the media, fans are going to say what they want, but a lot of the media coverage that Tony got wasn't very fair.
Yeah, I believe with that too. Ozzie Guillen Jr., ladies and gentlemen, on Ocean's Pit. Ozzie does some stuff himself. Ozzie, what is this Global Insight? CK, Cloud, what do you do? What is that?
Oh, so that's my day-to-day job. So I work for Cisco Systems. So I'm a corporate America guy. Once I got out of baseball, I decided to get into the real world. I still do my podcast. I'm very involved in baseball in a level that end. I do my podcast. We do our show, Being Guillen. It lives on the Guillen Grid on YouTube. But no, I got out of the game completely. I made a decision, which I think was an amazing decision at the time, and got out of the game full time. And now I get to do what I want and enjoy the game on that end, because the industry is not an easy one. but yeah, I work my corporate job, my side businesses, and then I do my baseball stuff for fun.
And
Again,
that is that through the decades? Is that your podcast, Through the Decades? What is that?
so our podcast right now, we have one that's dedicated to the White Sox baseball. It's the Blackout Show. That's 100% about the Chicago White Sox, and we like to bring a sense of reality to the fans out there. And then in our channel, we have multiple shows, some of them in Spanish, some of them in English, where it's Ozzy, and myself, kind of just talking different topics, as you can see within the world of baseball.
That is very, very cool. Now, Chief Brand Officer for the Ozzie Guillen Foundation. What was that all about? That's you started that in January 2015?
Yeah, no. So that's something, again, that's the non-for-profit, the Ozzie Guillen Foundation, og13.org. We have done multiple different entities that we help and support and bring our cause. Obviously, it's about Ozzie and Ozzie using his name. We were heavily involved in autism when Ozzie was a manager with the Sox, but that's been going all the way back to my dad's playing days in Venezuela. My parents made sure that we always gave back to our country. Obviously, that transition once we moved to the United States, to have a presence in the States, to have a presence in Venezuela, the current immigration situation with Venezuelans coming in, we've tried to help as much as possible from a standpoint in that end here in the city of Chicago. But we help different causes. We raise money. That's where Ozzie gets kind of connected to all the non-for-profit work that he does. We just hosted a lunch with Ozzie events where people bid on it, his memorabilia. But yeah, we've always had that arm. I kind of run the foundation with my mother. It's all family kind of guided. But cool. We've done some cool things at the time when Ozzie was connected to the team. We did a lot with the White Sox. Post that, we've partnered up with a lot of corporate companies and as well as other foundations to try to get the name out there and always give back in any way that we can. It's either with time or money. But yeah, my family, one of our pillars is always give back, kind of being thankful for all the gifts that we've been given in life.
Well, actually, that's fantastic. Great work that you guys are doing. There's a couple other questions here. Let's go with the steroids. Ozzie, did you, your father and yourself, I'm sure you've talked about through the years, everybody knew what was going on at that time, right? The owners knew, the doctors knew. Was it just because of
it wasn't illegal?
What do you think?
It wasn't illegal. I played in the steroid era in college. Steroids were very prominent. I think I judged players if anyone did anything after the rules were changed. Okay. Yes. It was very hypocritical, and that's what the Mitchell report kind of was of judging guys that did it beforehand. For all we know, guys in the 1950s could have been doing steroids. Babe Ruth could have been doing steroids, been around for a long time. Were they as prominent? Who knows? But yeah, I totally believe that whenever the rule was made, that's when you judge. That's when you judge that. That's when you
kind of still on it. Right.
Yeah, correct. Like now, if you do it, I think that it's wrong, meaning, you know what you can and cannot take. Players are always going to push the envelope. But yeah, like I think the game, steroids, this is one thing people never talk about. How much steroids clean the game of baseball up. Okay. There was a big 1970s and 1980s. There was a really, really big drug problem in professional sports, specifically in Major League Baseball. Sure. You guys can Google it. A lot of guys with cocaine problems, a lot of careers were lost because that was the mindset. Players played and they played just as hard off the field. And it was a culture. When steroids came in, guys started becoming more self-conscious about health and the way that they were. And that lifestyle of partying really transitioned. And Ozzie was actually kind of like a player that had to live both eras. And you could see the change towards that. And I think that's what started this era where teams are very focused on players' health. Players are very aware that they're a business, sure. And it's not just the game. And it really transitioned to the modern day game of baseball, the steroid era, what I like to call it, where guys just became more self-conscious of what they were taking. And I'm going to be honest, if people really understood how the steroids work, it doesn't help you hit better. It just helps you recover faster. It helps you have the energy to work out more. So you have to have the God-given abilities to still be able to hit the ball or throw the ball. This just helps you train and recover a lot faster. So
Well, even with Barry Bonds, he was still hitting balls like crazy even before he took the
Barry
steroids.
Bonds was a 2-time MVP before he ever
Correct.
allegedly did anything. So
Correct.
again, Barry Bonds is in a different level of you could take away. If Barry Bonds had passed away in 2000 from a tragic accident, he would have been deemed one of the greatest baseball players of all time. So even if you take away San Francisco, but again, it was
I
part
agree
of
with you 100%. And speaking, yeah,
a lot of
speaking,
people made a lot of money from
yeah,
the game. A lot of owners, a lot of media. So judging certain guys that made the sport so much money, and it needed it. You know, the strike in '93 and '94 really hurt the game. So steroids kind of helped to bring it back, if that's what they want to blame it to. The home runs brought the game back. So I think it's very hypocritical when guys try to judge those guys at the same standard that they're judging guys now.
yeah, judging now. That's what Richard Hamlin said too. Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa bringing the steroids saved baseball, but then Peter Prado says I disagree. It tarnished baseball. So I guess you got to go on both ends. It was for what it was.
It depends how. And again, these guys are not kids. These guys are grown men. Whatever they put in their body. And again, I always say allegedly. A lot of guys get blamed for it who never tested positive.
Sure.
Because people do the eye test, but they only do the eye test with the players they don't like. Look down the history books of players, how they look. Certain guys look, and you do your own assessment.
See, we did not know that. Ozzie Guillen Jr., what about, did your father think, and still thinks, that Pete Rose belongs in the Hall of Fame?
Pete Rose is the Hall of Fame. The greatest singles hitter of all time.
They will never be. Right. But you think
they'll probably put him in after he dies. They'll feel really bad for him, and they'll put him in.
After he dies.
After he dies. They won't let Pete have that satisfaction. You know, Pete handled it, I think, incorrectly when it happened. Correct. He should have came out cleanly and said, you know what, I did this, and just face the music. There's guys that have done steroids that admitted it. Nobody remembers that they did it. I think Pete mishandled it. I think Pete's plaque is not in the Hall of Fame. But Pete's in the Hall of Fame. His stuff's in there. That was right. You're right. Yeah, right. Baseball still shares the Pete story, and they make money off of Pete. I think the Hall of Fame is not the biggest travesty for Pete Rose. I think the biggest travesty for Pete Rose is that teams now promote gambling, okay, make money off of gambling, but Pete Rose is still banned from baseball. The Hall of Fame is just a bunch of writers that decide if you get in or not. That's a place where they made. I can go and create my own Hall of Fame and put my own criteria for guys to get in. Maybe we won't get the Major League Baseball approval, but I can make a Hall of Fame. That's just an award that some guys, they put in and they deem it the highest award. It is what it is. But from a standpoint of being banned, he is banned from baseball, meaning Pete can't coach for a Major League Baseball team.
No. Like Mark McGwire can coach. He was hitting coach for the Cardinals.
Barry Bonds, Mark, those guys are not like Ozzie Guillen, like they're not in the Hall of Fame, but they legally can coach and manage. They're not blackballed. Pete's banned. Like Pete can't go and be part of a ceremony on a field unless Major League Baseball approves it. Like Pete can't be in a clubhouse. Pete can't help and talk to kids about gambling in the minor leagues. Pete is banned from Major League Baseball. That's the biggest difference. I think he needs to be reinstated in baseball, and then they can decide on the whole Hall of Fame thing later. But the biggest travesty is that he is banned from the game when the game has a lot of guys in it that have done worse things than Pete, depending on how you judge. And now gambling is so normal that that the game has kind of looked the other way on that.
That makes a lot of sense. All right, when he went to the Marlins, 2012, did he like that move? Or you probably wanted to stay with the White Sox?
It was a pure financial move. We loved it as a family because of the payday. One of the funny Ozzie stories, we were on our way leaving spring training on like the first day of spring training. And Ozzie turned to me and said, I'm effing over this. And I said, he's like, I don't like it. Just because it was very different. And I said, well, good luck because you got 4 more years of being here. And he said, if I last that long. And it was just very different the way that things were done and conducted, just a different style of ways. But it was a financial move in the sense where people still think Ozzie left. It was they did not agree on an extension. They didn't want to extend him. It was just like what a lot of managers have done right now. Bob Melvin's done it twice. He went from Oakland to San Diego under contract. Now he just left San Diego to go to go to the Giants under contract, but it was Ozzie, so it was deemed wrong, and the White Sox fans don't understand that of where it was at. I think that, had they been able to get over that and Ozzie been given the deal that he wanted, and by the way, Ozzie was asking for a lot less money. I don't think the White Sox would have ever given Ozzie the money that he got in Miami.
I got it.
Well, not that he wanted. The Marlins just they went above and beyond. He got Ozzie was Craig Counsell before Craig Counsell. Ozzie got the biggest managing contract ever. In that, and we knew, we love Jerry in the sense that we know, but we're negotiating and we're like, Jerry didn't bend the knee for Michael Jordan and Phil Jackson. We're all due respect, Ozzie.
Absolutely.
So we knew it was going to be hard. And then the White Sox saw an opportunity where they didn't want to lose Ozzie to just him stepping away, so they traded him. So Ozzie was a trade. Both parties were happy at the time. Looking back, I think Ozzie he still likes the money, but I think he might have wished it would have been a little bit different. I don't know about the other side if the White Sox feel that way, but I think both parties got what they wanted in that moment. And the Sox still haven't won without Ozzie. And
good
Ozzie
point.
Just did his thing.
Yeah, Ozzie, that's a great point. And you know what? Speaking two languages, I speak fluent Italian and English, and obviously you do. Did you teach your kids that growing up? You want them to teach both, or you said no? You want them
No, of course, both. Any language that you can speak, the better. The more, the merrier. I think it gives you an opportunity to work and be more cultured. And every opportunity that I've ever had in my life has been because I'm bilingual. So I'm very thankful that my parents made that a situation. I always say this: I love the United States. It's the greatest place on earth, and I love when people still love their culture, still keep their language, and then assemble to what the United States is all about. That's what I think the United States is all about. It's a blend of amazing cultures, the best of the best in the world, and they come here to be American. So yes, I'm very, very proud of the Spanish, and I definitely will make it a goal for my kids to be fluent in it.
That's very important. I believe in the same thing there, Ozzie. Two more questions because I know you're busy.
I'm not busy. You for as long as you need me.
Well, I appreciate that very much. What did Ozzie think of the Northside Chicago Cubs?
He's tried to work for them for the team that Ozzie would go manage or coach for the fastest, and when he played, would have wanted to play for them after he left the Sox, was the Chicago Cubs. They're in Chicago.
Yeah,
we dislike the Cubs anytime they were facing the White Sox, and Ozzie was either a player, a coach, or a manager. When they faced the Marlins, we didn't like them because they were facing the Marlins. When they faced the Braves, the same thing. Right now, we have zero negative opinion about the Chicago Cubs as a team or anything. Ozzie, those comments and whatever, it was just it's baseball. He was competing against them, but no, Ozzie would put on that uniform so quickly. It would be there were talks at a moment of potential coaching with Joe Madden, which would have been amazing. Oh, but for sure, if Ozzie became a Cubs member in any type of way, coaching, managing, front office, we'd root for the Cubs just like we would. And people ask me all the time, like, did you root for them when they were in the World Series? Absolutely, both teams, because one hadn't won in 100, never won in 100 years, and the other one, so there was two droughts. It was like watching the man land on the moon for the first time if you're a baseball fan. So absolutely, and I think it's good for the city to have both teams, and when both teams are doing well. But no, Ozzie has nothing against the Chicago Cubs until they play one another, and he has to, obviously.
And that's a different story.
Sure, you're competing.
Yeah, they're competitive. But you know what? People rip on White Sox Park. It's beautiful. I mean, it's a beautiful stadium, and I'm not either. Look, I'm a diehard Yankee fan, but I know that that White Sox Park is beautiful. I like it. I mean, Wrigley Field is, I think when people go to White Sox game, they go because they really love the game and they love White Sox. I think 90% of the fans, maybe they go to Wrigley Field, go because it's Wrigley Field. It's like let's go to Wrigley Field. I don't know if they're real Cub fans or not.
I think if you come to Chicago and you don't go to Wrigley Field, you really haven't been in Chicago.
Correct. That's what I mean.
That's just the kind of like the aura and what that team represents. Again, the Chicago Cubs are a team that, like Dallas Cowboys, where there's so many fans that don't even live in Chicago or have any connections. You can
they're huge with Chicago.
You can say it's like the Yankees. It's like there's teams that have reached levels of popularity where you can't really control that. And depends again if you have great runs, and that's the Cubs have been like that even when they were not a good team, lovable losers. Again, whatever way you want to put on it. From a stadium standpoint, again, two different experiences. From a working atmosphere, the Chicago White Sox to work there every day is a million times better than it is working for the Cubs back then. It's gotten better. The Ricketts
a little bit
better, but it's still hard. It's not as good as, their press box is not as good as the Chicago White Sox. So when you're working, and those comments that Ozzie made, and again, why do you think that they made the remodel? And they remodeled everything because they knew that they were outdated and there were certain things that they had. And again, they're both very different. And again, fans need to understand, if you go to the game to view the game, and I actually took Ozzie to his first rooftop, it's a different experience and you enjoy it. But when you're going there to win, to compete, you're used to certain things in Major League Baseball that every stadium has. It's a reality of comfort. Do I think that old Yankee Stadium is the greatest stadium of all time? Absolutely.
I agree. Much better than the new stadium.
Players would go there, and if you're a baseball fan, you're like, man, Babe Ruth walked this tunnel. Mickey Mantle was here. You walk the fence. Players don't do that in other stadiums. Do I believe that the new Yankee Stadium, facilities-wise, is a million times better than old Yankee Stadium? Absolutely. But so again, it's the aura of what they have. And again, some places are just going to have that special kind of like grasp, just because of who the teams are. But from a fan base standpoint, I just think they worry about one team does. This is the Chicago Cubs are going to be the Chicago Cubs. They're always going to be the top dog. Well, the White Sox are always going to be trying to chase that. It's just a reality of it. It's New York. It's the Mets. And at times you're going to have more championships, the Sox. And that's the only way that you can I measure success is if you win more, you're going to, that's what you use.
It's going to go up the ladder.
Of course. That's when people ask me, oh, what do you think about the Yankees? I said, they got 27 rings, but everybody's trying to play catch up to them. It is what it is. So
it is what it is.
And I love the way, and I love if Major League Baseball implemented a rule of no mustaches, no facial hair, I would be against it. But if it's only the Yankees, I'm okay with
Yankees,
it.
right.
That's their thing. That's their thing, and they've had it for a long time.
You got to follow the rules.
You know what?
Yeah, Ozzie, they say, they buy their championships. Isn't the team supposed to spend the money to try to get the best team so you can win every year? And they have not won the championship.
You know what? I'm going to call out White Sox fans on this and Cubs fans. Oh, now they buy championships. But now you want your teams to buy championships. So in the 1940s, 50s, 60s, 70s, fans would say, oh, they buy their championships. But now teams are like, well, I want my team to buy a championship. I think teams are supposed to compete, obviously make a profit, but always compete and have a way of winning. I think that the reason that the New York Yankees have actually not had the success that they used to have is because I think they've gone away of doing things the Yankees way. I think they had a great formula of developing players, and then when you needed to land a big name free agent, they always landed a guy to get better and to be better. It was a standard that they had of winning. And players do that when they would go there. That's why there's players that say, "I'd never be a Yankee." Well, maybe because you don't want to. You're expected to win every time. The Yankees have never been. It's like they said, 35 years and never been under 500. Have not had a win. That's a standard, and that's acceptable. So when they buy their championships, again, you have to spend money. Now the name of the game is spending money. Money is not badly spent if you get to raise that trophy. That picture that's back there. If you get to trade anyone. Anything that happens in that season is forgiven and forgotten because that's the goal. If the Dodgers win next year in the next 10 years, that Ohtani contract will be worth it. When you don't win is when they say money was badly spent or blah, 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 blah. If you win, everything was worth it. And
everything was worth it, yeah.
Just had their standards on winning, and I'm sure they're trying to get back to that because there's fans expect it. But no, everyone needs to spend whatever shape your team needs to do in order to win the postseason and win the playoffs. That's what you do. And that's my biggest critique against analytics when they talk about, Tampa Bay does it this way. Tampa does it because they're broke and their owner doesn't want to spend money. Because when their general manager left and he went to the Dodgers, the guy who signed Ohtani, he used to be in Tampa. So why did he sign Ohtani and gave him $700 million? He could have gone and found out a guy from Moneyball and found 3 guys that did Ohtani's job and paid him 1/4 of that.
And played for 1/4 of that.
Yeah, so you it's like your budget. It's like if you have a small business and small businesses with Walmart, you're trying to get customers, you're going to advertise different. You're going to try to get to the end goal in a different way, which is make money for business. In baseball, you want to win. And if you don't have the resources, you try to find a way to compete and you try to find things to get good at and work with what you have. But again, yeah, you can't hate a team for having a bigger budget. You just have to find a way to compete against them.
And Ozzie, you're right. And Richard Hamlin says the Cubs have WGN Channel 9 to thank for their fan base because of syndication throughout the United States.
And the White Sox could have gone. And the White Sox could have gone to public. They could have gone public. The White Sox right now can go on YouTube, be the first team to give the team for free, and 20 years from now be the most popular team. Those are choices that you make. And in that time, that choice worked out very well for them. It built a brand. Atlanta Braves is the same way with TNT and Turner Broadcasting and TBS. It's just decisions that teams make. You can say, well, the New York Yankees had, they were very smart on the way they,
right.
They had tours back then where they make players go across the country. And I just think it's how your team is marketed. And you can see any team in every given moment, how they've branded. Like if you go to Venezuela and you're like, why is there so many White Sox fans? Well, we've had 3 generations of great shortstops. Ozzie Guillen won a World Series. Yes. If you're in the 1970s, it's the Big Red Machine.
Yeah.
Every team needs to use the marketing and kind of compete. And you're always trying to bring fans in. So you can't hate the Cubs for, at that moment, being very smart and saying, if we go to national TV, we'll get more fans.
Well, Ozzie, people are complaining now with pricing and everything for hot dogs and drinks and parking. That's gone up. And I guess, I don't know, it's going to happen all the time. It's just part of business. But if anybody came up to you or your father, young kid, goes, hey, man, I want to become a baseball player. What would your advice on both? What would you and your father say to kids right now if they want to become a baseball player?
I would say becoming a baseball player or anything professionally at a high level is not going to be easy. Okay, especially now. I think that a lot of people see the end result. I think it's harder to make it now than it was before, just because.
Why do you say that, Ozzie? Why?
Well, you're competing against. There was no Japanese players. There's 4 continents now competing for players. So when my father played, it was like not even half of the world was playing now. If you're playing now, you got they'd be looking for a shortstop. They got a shortstop from every country competing with you in minor leagues. So again, there's more scouting, so there's more opportunity, more teams, but they're looking for more players. It's hard work. I always say this: as long as you're enjoying it, you always play for the next level. So if you are in 12U and the next year you want to make your 13U team, what do you have to do to make your 13U team and enhance your skills? And then you start building up that way. And that way you're going to get to the highest level of baseball. That's when I went from college to pro ball, my jump was like, I made a life decision that says, I don't want to put in the work because my risk and reward is so high that if for me to go to professional baseball, I'm going to have to do all this work for maybe a very small percentage of me having success. I'd rather go do something else. That's risk and reward. So I think that if you start climbing up every level, you can't be in like 10U and think I'm going to make it to the big leagues. That's great to have that dream, but what do you have to do in the middle to make that dream possible? Are you taking as many ground balls as you need? Are you hitting, the way that you're supposed to be hitting? Are you getting good grades? Are you, staying out of trouble? Those are all things that you have to do to get there. Once you do something as a professional, no one sees the outcome. I always have a joke. You never see nobody wearing the day of the draft shorts and a t-shirt. Everyone's wearing a suit.
Always in suits. Yes.
Everyone gets drafted. Everyone's in a suit and tie. Any sport, everyone's scared. You want to get paid. This is your goal. Once you get paid, you get the suit and tie. Oh, I don't have to wear this tie. You do whatever you want, but you have to do certain things to get there. And I say this, man, the higher you play, I was able to play college. Was it's a big honor because not everybody gets to do it. You get to play, obviously, high school. In life, there's kids that have very natural talent where it might take someone very little practice to play at any level. And then there might be guys that it takes hard work. And that's where you have to be. Like for me, I didn't really have to work really hard to play at high school. But then from high school to college, it was like, whoa, wake up call. So you have to just never compare yourself and just always try to get yourself better. Like you get yourself better. Don't compare yourself to anybody. Just get better every day. And then you'll be able to compete at a higher level and go as far as you like.
Well, Ozzie, I want to thank you for your time, man. You're a busy man. And thank you for and your father, man, bringing the World Series to Chicago, and they needed it, the White Sox. And I always like watching Ozzie, man, because when he talks, he speaks his mind. I think everybody needs to be that. We need more Ozzies as managers. I would love if he came back to the White Sox, or even better if he went to the Cubs as a manager. That would be great too. But thank you for your time, sir. Thank you for what you do. Feliz Navidad and happy holidays to your family. God bless you. And again, I want to thank our good friend Joey Spins for putting this together, man. I appreciate it. Ozzie, God bless you, buddy. Give my
Thank
best
you very
to your
much for
father.
having me. Thank you.
Have a great day, folks. Ozzie Guillen Jr., ladies and gentlemen, as we're coming down to the last couple minutes here, folks, how cool. Business of White Sox stuff, inside stuff. I could talk to that gentleman for Ozzie Jr. forever. I just love his stuff that he talks about, and he knows his stuff. Been in the game. His father is one of the best. You got to love him. Now, we are coming down to the end, folks. The cutoff date for Mama D's Breads is tomorrow. Mama D's Bake Loaf Bread loaves. Mama D's cutoff is tomorrow. Go to nbos427 at yahoo.com. Today is National Hard Candy Day. Also, Ron Onesti's Rockin' Za is hiring folks in St. Charles, the new pizza joint there, restaurant. They're looking for help. So go down there, go to info@oshows.com and apply if you're looking for work for Rockin' Za. Very important. I love it. All right. So, again, happy National Twins Day to Marissa and Nina. I love you guys. All right. A couple birthdays, and now we got to go. Elliot Easton from the Cars turned 70 years old. Michael Morano from Taverna on Division, bartender. How you doing, Michael? Happy birthday. Steven Spielberg turned 77 years old. Katie Holmes, 45 years old. Doug Darren, the son of Bobby Darren's birthday today. Oh, boy. George Smith Lindsay. Of course, he played Goober on Mayberry RFD and, of course, the Andy Griffith Show. Elvin Lee from the rock group 10 years after, celebrating a birthday, folks. Maurice White from Earth, Wind & Fire celebrating a birthday, folks. My good friend Star Olson. Star, happy birthday, Star. Jake, I never knew how to pronounce this guy's name or his sister's name, but I think it's General. Anyway, 43 years old. Tony Craig from the Chicago Bulls celebrating a birthday. Yosemite Sam, the cartoon that we all grew up with, turned 78 years old today. And my good friend Jackie from Ace Hardware. Jackie, happy birthday, my dear friend. I hope you have a great day. Tonight we'll be at Antonio's in Itasca. That's a 6:30 hit. Tomorrow, Positano's in Oak Brook with Lisa P. and Jerry Jams. 7 o'clock Friday with Double T at Chicago Prime Steakhouse. And then, of course, this Saturday, Taverna on Division in Melrose Park. The big birthday bash, December 28th, Fox Run Golf Club. It's going to be great. Mojo's Jukebox, Ocean's Rat Pack, Regina Karma, Nick Sahajas, John Vincent, Matt Cassane, Ronnie B. Elvis. It's going to be great. First come, first serve. There's no reservations there, folks. Come on out on the 28th of December, turning 61 years old. And Ocean's Rat Pack will be at the Center for Performing Arts on New Year's Eve, the 31st of this beautiful month of December. Guys, tomorrow, the last show of the week will be with my lovely wife, co-host Laura Ocean. And we're excited. Friday, we won't be here because we have a gig during the day. But again, thank you guys all for watching. And let's go right back to our good friends from Ace Hardware. Ace is the place. Buy local. Shop local. Absolutely, folks. Stop at acehardware.com and in-store pickup will be ready in 15 minutes. And again, free $10 Ace bonus gift card when you purchase a $50 Ace gift card through December 24th. And always support the Children's Miracle Network. Customers can round up their purchase in store or purchase our delicious Children's Memorial Network chocolate bar for just $1 to support. Buy local, shop local. That's Ace Hardware. Ace is the place, helping neighbors before they were neighborhoods. I want to thank you guys all for watching the show. Support local establishments, live entertainment, and the great words of Ringo Starr. Peace and love. Hey, Nick Sahajas, take us out, my brother. Bye-bye.
Time to go, it's the end of the show. See you later from Tony.
Bye-bye, everybody. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. God bless you. Love you. See you tomorrow.